Hi Kat, welcome. It's great to see you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So before we start, I just want to give you a bit of background about myself and also around some important topics that we need to discuss before we head into our session. So before we start, if you see me taking any notes, it is just so that I can remember what we've talked about between sessions, and it helps me maintain time efficiency and effectiveness for the time that we share together today.
Sure, no problem at all.
Now, secondly, is the issue of confidentiality as well. So what you say will remain between us. However, it is a limited confidentiality, and that will only occur in cases where I'm legally required to disclose information. So that could include instances such as recordings, video recordings, or notes being shared with my supervisor.
Sure.
It might involve court reporting or as a mandatory reporter, which I have a legal obligation to uphold.
Okay.
So in the case where I might share notes or videos with my supervisor, you will be informed, and there will be a form for you to sign giving approval to move forward.
Okay, no problem at all.
So the other topic before we start is around our fees. So just so you know, it's $50 for a 45-minute session here, and while it's subject to change, you will be notified when fees are altered.
Okay.
In any case where you feel 45 minutes though isn't long enough, we just respectfully ask that you make an additional appointment or let me know, and I can provide you with an alternative day to come in. It helps us maintain time effectiveness and efficiency with all our clients.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Fantastic. So being mindful that we only have 45 minutes here today, why don't you start by telling me a bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. My name's Kat, as you know. I'm 26 years old, and at the minute I'm actually working as a nanny to one family.
Fantastic. So what brings you here today, Kat?
Well, at the moment I'm actually having this trouble between finding this healthy balance between my work life, my personal life, but as well as the sphere of ministry that I'm in. My work life is kind of just completely consuming everything, and just I cannot find a healthy balance by myself at all, and I'm just really struggling. So yeah, if you could help, that would be marvelous.
Yeah. So can I ask, can you tell me a bit more about your current work-life balance that you have?
Yeah, of course. So at the moment, as I said, I'm working for one family as a nanny, and I'm actually working 5 days a week, and the hours that I'm working vary, but most of the time they start at 7 a.m. and end at 9 p.m. but with the exception of some days I sleep over, and just to be there when the kids go to bed and when they wake up in the morning, because the people that I nanny for are business owners, and sometimes they actually don't finish work quite late themselves. So it's just quite convenient for me and for them just to be there for those few hours, just to save travel and that type of thing.
Right.
But I think the main issue that I'm having is actually the weekends and outside of work, because work is kind of just consuming everything. I'm constantly on call, but on the weekends, we're actually now, obviously because I've been working for them for a while, have become quite good friends. So a lot of our friends now are mutual and all of these things. So say on a Saturday, we would all go to something, the children would actually come to me instead of their parents, even though, you know, it's a personal day. But I'm constantly working. And then on the Sunday, we also go to the same church, and I'm in ministry there, but the parents will also still send the children over to me instead of themselves, or the children will come up to me by themselves. And so even in that sphere, I'm finding myself working and just not really being able to just be in that sphere of things on that day. It's kind of just blurring the lines completely. So.
All right. So to clarify, what I'm hearing you say is that those lines are really blurred. It's not leaving a lot of time for you to look after yourself, to do what you need to do, to maintain what you need to maintain. And perhaps, you know, because you're now friends with your employers and you see them kind of outside of regular work, it's harder for you to be separate from that, but also perhaps, you know, it makes things difficult for you to manage because you're put in a position where they're, you know, continuously around you, and that balance, you know, has been affected because of kind of things seeping in and out of your personal life, and you can't be separated from that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
It's become so hard and such a challenge.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that you have a lot on your plate. So keeping in mind what we've just talked about that work-life balance, what would you like to get out of this session today that would help, or that, you know, you just might want to talk about? What do you need from this session today?
I think I was really hoping possibly for just maybe some strategies or something that I can just apply to my work life and my personal life, because those lines are so blurred. There may be just some strategies that just really help me just to clarify everything and just really set boundaries and things.
Okay. Well, I would love to help you develop some strategies for yourself and ultimately help you maintain and achieve a healthier work balance.
Oh, that would be great.
So, yes, I'm certainly looking forward to working with you, and perhaps we can look at developing some strategies through this session that can help you do that. It might take some time. Those goals might need to be revisited and changed and adapted based on your life and what's happening as we go. It's a progressive process, but I'm certainly looking forward to helping you navigate some of those changes.
Oh, thank you. It'll be great.
So, in light of everything that you've shared so far, can you tell me what would be the biggest problem that you think you face in all of that?
Yeah, so I think my biggest problem would be just really my lack, if that is the right term, my lack of ability to actually say no to people in any circumstance.
Yeah.
But also just a lack of support. Like it's really tough not having the support.
Okay. You say lack of support. Would you mind unpacking that for me? What does that look like in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, so I think what I mean with lack of support, I guess I'm talking about at work, like there is no support, say if I'm sick or anything, like there's no one that I can call on, like it's just on me. But also with things like just getting ready for, say, the church on the weekend and preparing, whether it be a message or whatever, I'm always so consumed with other things that there's just no support moving forward that I can do that next thing. Like, so just...
Yeah. Do you think the lack of support is also because you've been unable to maintain the balance between the social life and the work, and that obviously your life is centrally based around one family and your employer and your friendships?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like my relationships have really struggled over the last few months, especially like the last time I actually caught up with friends outside of that family and that family unit, especially, like has been so long. And my relationships have really struggled.
Yeah. All right. So, in relation to what you've just shared about, not feeling comfortable to say no and obviously not having the support, if you could make any changes, positive changes, what today, you know, if we were to do that right now in this session, what would you like to see happen?
Oh, I think I would just, in an ideal world, would love to see maybe some more self-care time for me, some time that I can spend with those relationships and spend on them and just invest into their lives and them into mine. But I think I would also just love some ministry time and some faith-based time just to really spend with God and just not be constantly worried or on call or what's going to happen next. Yeah.
Okay. So to bring everything together that we have discussed today, what I'm hearing is that obviously you're not separate from your work-life balance, and you know that you're having trouble maintaining some of those social relationships, but also having time for yourself and maintaining that time to look after yourself. And obviously you shared earlier that you feel kind of like work's consuming your life at the moment. And so that you feel now that having maybe some strategies around, you know, your personal life, and you mentioned self-care, and your family and relationships, that maybe having some goals around those things might help you achieve an ultimate kind of ideal of work-life balance.
Definitely. That would be amazing. Just having those clear goals that are attainable that I could really just work towards would be marvelous.
Okay. So if we were to develop some goals to help you together today, and to help you develop that healthy work-life balance, what do you value or prioritize that we could incorporate into those goals? So, you know, I know you mentioned things like your social life. So is there anything else in addition to those things that perhaps we could incorporate?
I think maybe just, there's obviously the social, but just things such as, like I said, with the self-care and being able just to go for a bit of an exercise and just a bit of a run or a walk or whatever it may be, just really in that, and just really focusing on also like my family relationships, as you've said, and like my friends, and just they've struggled so much that they just really need some help.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from all of that is that you have a really strong focus on relationships. So perhaps maybe that might be why, you know, you've struggled to say no. And to make those clear distinctions between work and home life, is that perhaps, you know, you don't want to kind of cause disunity. And you know, you mentioned that you were friends with the family that employ you as well, so that might be a result of why those lines are blurred.
Definitely, and I think it's harder now more than ever because they are my friends. So I found it hard before to say no, but now it's just escalated so much. And
of course.
Absolutely, it's so difficult. And then it's almost that, I don't know whether an expectation of what will they say if I say no, or absolutely. So, I think I really worry about that. So having those goals and things that are attainable, as you said, like that would be marvelous.
Okay, so let's make some goals this week. To say no to things that impede on those things in your life. So things that impede on your relationships, that impede on your social events, that impede on your personal time, as well as things like self-care and faith times. I know you mentioned that earlier. So, you know, whether you would like to maybe go away from this session today, create a schedule, perhaps your ideal schedule of what the difference would be between work life and personal life. And perhaps schedule in some time within this week to maintain some relationships, to maintain some help, self-care time for yourself, some personal time. Fit those into a schedule and make sure you're happy with what that looks like for you at this point in time. And we'll just start by practicing perhaps saying no to the things that impede on that time. So when you pull out your diary, having a look, and if you've got no time to fit that in, and it's genuinely something you feel would compromise one of those areas, then we can practice saying no in a way that develops your confidence to be able to say that as needed. But we'll just start with those main areas of concern first, and start working on filling in that time with your social relationships, so that you can feel like those relationships are being maintained, and start developing networks for support. I know you mentioned that was something that you felt was concerning for you.
Yeah, definitely.
So perhaps maybe that's what we could do together, and then you could come back in the next session, share if you feel comfortable to what you've formulated. We can revisit whether you have felt the exercise has worked for you, if anything needs changing, and kind of go from there. And we can develop some new strategies that will help you hopefully reach your goal.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much.
That's all right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I'm very excited / nervous about this exercise, but I'm sure it'll be great. It's much needed.
It will be. And look, we I'm here to support you, and we can have a look at the next session, how you're feeling. If something really doesn't work for you, we can change that. If you have any thoughts in the meantime, just jot them down in your diary or on a piece of paper, and kind of we'll revisit how you're feeling and see where we go from there.
Okay, that sounds great.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, thank you for listening.
Lovely to meet you.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.